From Ideas to Income. Thinking Like the Wealthy to Fuel Your Passion, written by Ronnie Rowland. Published by Growth Literacy Lounge. A burst of excitement. The kind that hits you in the shower or keeps you up at 2 a.m. An idea that feels different. Bigger, like this could finally be the one. You scribble notes, maybe buy a domain, talk to a few friends, watch a few videos. Then, it stalls. Not because you didn't care. Not because you weren't willing to work. But because ideas don't build themselves and passion, without a plan, burns out fast. This book isn't here to hype you up, it's here to hand you a toolkit. The wealthy don't think differently because they're smarter. They think differently because they've stopped worshipping the spark. They know a spark can start a fire, sure, but if there's no structure, no system, no sustainable fuel, that fire fizzles every time. They build greenhouses, controlled, intentional environments that turn seeds into ecosystems. Their ideas don't depend on luck or adrenaline, they depend on process. You're not lacking creativity, you're lacking scaffolding. That's the gap. And this book is going to close it. We'll break the old rules. We'll stop asking, is this a great idea? And start asking, can this solve, scale, and sustain? We'll stop romanticizing hustle and start engineering momentum. Because as Les Brown once said, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great, but you also have to keep going. And without a system, most people don't. You don't need a bigger dream. You need a better frame. From Ideas to Income, we'll show you how to think like the wealthy, act with intention, and finally move from passion to platform, without the chaos, without the burnout, and without guessing your way through. Your ideas deserve more than adrenaline, they deserve architecture. Let's build it. Chapter 1. The Idea Illusion, Why Inspiration Alone Isn't Enough. He had the spark. An app that would change the way creatives connect, sleek design, big vision, even a catchy name. Friends were impressed. He mocked up a pitch deck, rehearsed his elevator speech, and swore this was it, his golden idea. 12 months later, silence. No users, no income. Just a domain name gathering dust and a lingering sense of what happened. Here's what happened: he confused inspiration with infrastructure. It's a common trap. The world romanticizes the lightbulb moment. Movies glorify the eureka. Social media feeds are filled with million-dollar idea posts, as if the idea itself carries value. It doesn't. Not without strategy, structure, and execution. Think of an idea like a spark in the wilderness. Beautiful, yes. But if there's no tinder, no fuel, no shelter from the wind, that spark fades. The wealthy know this. They don't fall in love with sparks, they build bonfires, and then, when bonfires become inefficient, they install solar panels, long-term energy, renewable systems. The average thinker says, I have an idea. The wealthy thinker says, can this idea survive, serve, and scale? One is romantic. The other is realistic. Only one leads to income. Most people hoard ideas like precious gems. They write them down in notebooks, guard them from idea stealers, and treat them like finished products. But an idea isn't an asset until it's tested, structured, and offered to the world in a way that delivers value. An idea becomes valuable only when it's translated into a result. So where does that leave you? First, breathe. This doesn't mean your idea is bad. It just means it's not enough. You're not missing creativity, you're missing construction. The bridge between spark and income isn't genius. It's systems thinking. Start here, take your top idea and flip the question. Don't ask, is this good? Ask, who does this help? How scalable is the help? And what system could deliver it without me doing everything manually? If that feels overwhelming, good. Overwhelm is a sign you're moving from daydreaming to design. Builders feel overwhelmed. But they don't stop, they start drawing blueprints. Here's the secret: wealthy thinkers don't fall in love with the idea. They fall in love with solving a problem through the idea. That's what builds income, service, not sentiment. And no, this isn't about turning everything into a business overnight. It's about honoring your ideas enough to give them structure, about treating your spark like it deserves shelter, fuel, and a long burn. You've probably met someone who's always on to the next thing. Big energy, big ideas, no results. Don't be that person. The goal isn't to have more ideas. It's to steward one well. To build something that lives outside your head and inside someone's life. And here's the beautiful irony. Once you stop worshipping the idea, you start seeing its real potential. You stop clinging and start cultivating. From here on out, every idea you have is just a seed. Some will sprout. Some won't. Your job is not to force fruit, it's to build the garden, the soil, the water system, and the sunlight. That's what turns an idea into income. Next time you get excited about a new concept, don't just imagine the launch. Imagine the structure. Ask, what does this idea need to survive? Who will it serve? How will I deliver it, repeatedly, without burning out? Because inspiration might light the match. But only strategy keeps the fire alive. Ideas are sparks, not solutions. Wealthy thinkers structure, test, and build systems around their ideas. You don't need more ideas, you need infrastructure for the ones you already have. Where in your life are you mistaking excitement for execution? Choose one idea you've been holding on to. Write down how it could serve others, scale and be sustained through a simple system. One paragraph, no fluff. Chapter 2. Seeds versus Systems. How the wealthy think differently. Two people have the same idea, a platform that helps freelancers find better gigs. One builds a website, writes a few blog posts, and waits. The other designs a funnel, partners with influencers, and creates a digital course on client acquisition. Same spark. Different strategy. One is still hoping, the other is hiring. This is the difference between thinking in seeds and thinking in systems. Ideas are seeds. They carry potential. But left alone, they rot. Wealthy thinkers don't just scatter seeds and hope, they engineer environments where those seeds are most likely to grow. They build systems. Predictable, repeatable, controllable systems. Most people treat their idea like a lottery ticket. If this goes viral, they say, I'll be rich. But the wealthy don't gamble, they compound. They build frameworks where value is generated step by step, not in a single lightning strike. A system is any repeatable process that moves someone from point A to point B with minimal friction. It's the difference between handcrafting every sale and guiding people through a journey you've already mapped. From free content to small product to high ticket offer, every part of the journey is intentional. That's a system. Ask yourself this: if 10,000 people wanted your idea tomorrow, would it survive, or would it collapse under your inbox? The average thinker is reactive. They wait for opportunity and respond to chaos. Wealthy thinkers are proactive. They build for scale before scale shows up. It's not because they expect everything to go perfectly, it's because they know structure is the only way to stay sane when things do go right. That's the unspoken tragedy of the unprepared. Their idea finally takes off, and it crushes them. Systems remove decision fatigue. They allow ideas to breathe and evolve without needing constant manual input. This isn't about automation for the sake of laziness, it's about stewardship. Wealthy thinkers don't automate to escape their idea. They do it to serve more people without losing themselves in the process. Picture a greenhouse. The environment is controlled: light, temperature, nutrients, all optimized to give the seed its best chance. The gardener doesn't hope, they design. They don't pray for rain. They install irrigation. The same principle applies to income-generating ideas. If your product depends on your presence 24/7, it's not a business, it's a job. Systems turn jobs into assets. And here's the twist: you don't have to build an empire overnight. Systems start small. An email sequence, a content calendar, a workflow that automates onboarding, one process at a time. Like Lego blocks, each piece stacks to create something bigger than the sum of its parts. That's why wealthy thinkers seem calm while building. It's not because they're less passionate, it's because they're more prepared. They've swapped adrenaline for architecture. The goal is simple: stop thinking of your idea as the end, start thinking of it as the entrance. The beginning of a structured journey where each step multiplies the impact of the one before. Let your competitors stay in sprint mode, chasing the next trend. You're not sprinting. You're planting, watering, and systemizing. And while they burn out, you build momentum. Next time a new idea hits, don't ask, is this going to work? Ask, what system could make this inevitable if I do it well? That's the question wealthy minds are always answering. Because in the end, it's not the best idea that wins. It's the best system built around a decent one. Ideas are seeds, valuable, but only if nurtured. Systems allow ideas to scale without exhausting the creator. Wealthy thinkers focus on frameworks, not flashes of inspiration. What current idea are you treating like a seed, but haven't planted in a system yet? Choose one repeatable process: email replies, product delivery, scheduling, and document how to systemize it this week. Chapter 3. Dating your ideas, testing without attachment. He launched a fitness app with custom meal plans and sleek workouts. 3 months in, the downloads trickled, feedback was lukewarm. But he'd sunk time, pride, and identity into it, so he pushed harder: ads, partnerships, redesigns. Eventually, debt followed. The app never caught fire. The real issue? He married the idea before he knew if it was worth the commitment. Wealthy thinkers don't do that. They date their ideas. The difference is everything. Dating means curiosity, testing, and exploration. It's agile. It allows room to pivot, grow, or walk away. Marrying an idea too early locks you in emotionally. It turns feedback into personal attacks. Instead of adjusting, you defend. And that's where potential dies. Think of ideas like auditions, not ceremonies. The wealthy run lean experiments. They ask, is this solving a real problem? Not, do I love this? Because love alone doesn't build traction, value does. An untested idea is a daydream. Testing brings it to life or gently buries it before it costs too much. Here's how the wealthy approach it. First, they create a minimum viable version, just enough to see if the market cares. A few social media posts, a simple landing page, a conversation with potential users. The goal isn't polish, it's proof. Second, they observe. Who engages? Who shares? Who buys? If nobody bites, they don't panic, they learn. They're not emotionally welded to version 1, they expect version 1 to fail. That's how version 2 gets better. Third, they iterate. Adjust the offer, the angle, the delivery. Still no traction? They let it go. Not every seed becomes a tree. The wealthy accept this. The average person grieves it. Attachment is expensive. It leads to stubborn decisions, bloated products, and tunnel vision. Wealthy minds detach just enough to stay flexible. They see ideas as vehicles, not identities. Dating also means you can entertain more than one idea at a time. You don't need to find the one right away. You test multiple, see what clicks, and move forward with what resonates and scales. This mindset isn't cold, it's wise. It honors the idea by giving it a real shot at serving people, instead of smothering it with expectations it's not ready to carry. And when an idea shows promise, that's when commitment begins. But even then, wealthy builders stay adaptive. Markets shift. Needs evolve. The idea may need to grow, pivot, or rebrand. Loyalty isn't to the shape, it's to the impact. That's why some of the most successful companies today didn't start where they ended up. Twitter began as a podcast platform. Shopify was a snowboarding store. Their founders didn't fall in love with the first idea, they stayed in love with solving the problem, and let the format evolve. You can do the same. Take an idea you're excited about, now strip it of emotion. What problem does it solve? Who needs that solved badly enough to pay for it? What's the simplest way to test it this week? This is how you move from passion to profit without heartbreak. Don't marry your idea, date it, test it, challenge it. If it proves itself, commit. If not, bless and release. Because the idea isn't sacred. The impact is. Wealthy thinkers test ideas like dates, not marriages. Emotional attachment kills adaptability and clarity. The goal is to validate value before scaling or committing. What idea have you married emotionally but never tested objectively? Craft a one-paragraph experiment for your current idea. What's the smallest way to test interest or traction in the next 7 days? Then run it. Chapter 4. The Greenhouse Model, Building Your Idea Ecosystem. You wouldn't throw seeds into the wind and hope for tomatoes. You'd plant them in rows, water them, protect them from frost, and build something to shield them from the elements. That's a greenhouse. Controlled, intentional, designed for growth. Wealthy thinkers treat their ideas the same way. Most people are working in the wilderness. They have ideas, sure, scattered across notebooks, apps, and late-night voice memos. But those ideas are exposed to distractions, doubt, and disorder. There's no infrastructure, no ecosystem, just potential left to rot. The wealthy build greenhouses. A greenhouse isn't just protection, it's performance engineering. It doesn't rely on weather, it creates the weather. That's the shift. Wealthy minds don't wait for perfect conditions, they manufacture them. Systems, routines, environments, tools, all working together to give one idea the highest probability of thriving. Take a content creator with a great idea for a personal development course. The average thinker jumps into recording, no plan, no pipeline, just create and hope. The wealthy one. They sketch a user journey, free value to attract, a lead magnet to convert, a course to deliver, a community to retain, a follow-up to ascend. Each layer feeds the next. That's an ecosystem. Ideas can't survive in chaos. They need clarity, they need flow. And they need a structure that doesn't crumble under attention. Most creators build with intensity. Wealthy creators build with intention. Building a greenhouse begins with three things: platform, pipeline, and product. Platform is your soil. Where do you show up? Where do people discover you? You don't need to be everywhere, just somewhere consistently. One channel. Done well. Pipeline is your irrigation. How do you move someone from interest to trust? This could be email, social media, or a video series. It's the bridge between I like this and take my money. Product is your fruit. What's the offer that solves a real problem and delivers transformation? Not a collection of features, a promise, fulfilled with excellence. Each piece supports the others. A great product with no pipeline is a secret. A great pipeline with no platform is an echo chamber. A great platform with no product is a vanity project. The ecosystem is what makes it sustainable. The goal isn't to trap yourself in content creation prison. It's to design a system that eventually runs without your constant attention. Think evergreen. Think automation. Think leverage. Wealthy minds think ahead. They don't just build for today, they build for scale. If 10,000 people showed up tomorrow, would your system hold? If not, it's time to upgrade the structure. Start small. You don't need a 10-part funnel today, just a lead magnet, a simple email sequence, one offer that solves a real need. Build one wall of the greenhouse at a time, and don't confuse complexity with effectiveness. Some of the most powerful systems are simple: a free workshop, a landing page, a 3-step delivery process. It's not about fancy, it's about functional. This is how wealthy thinkers operate. They don't just create, they cultivate. They don't react, they design. And while others chase virality, they build systems that compound. If your ideas are seeds, your ecosystem is what decides if they grow. Stop tossing ideas into the wind. Build the structure. Build the greenhouse. Then watch what blooms. Ideas need ecosystems, not exposure. Wealthy thinkers build structured systems: platform, pipeline, product. Greenhouses don't wait for conditions, they create them. Where in your current idea process is structure missing, and what's breaking because of it? Sketch a basic ecosystem for your idea. What's your platform? How do people find you? And what transformation do you offer? One page. Keep it simple. Chapter 5. Emotional detachment, strategic execution. A painter sells custom canvases on Instagram. Her work is stunning, personal, and praised by everyone who sees it. But she's exhausted. Orders pile up. She's hand-packing each shipment, answering every DM, and burning out. When someone suggests licensing her art or turning it into digital prints, she recoils. It would lose the magic, she says. A year later, her account is silent. The passion was real. The plan wasn't. This is what happens when passion becomes a prison. We're told to follow our hearts, to do what we love. That's good advice, until it blinds you. Wealthy thinkers love what they do, but they don't let emotion override execution. They care deeply. But they also detach strategically. This isn't about being cold. It's about being clear. When you're too close to your creation, every critique feels personal. Every pivot feels like betrayal. You cling to what you started instead of adapting to what works. But wealth building requires you to treat your idea like a product, not a pet. The market doesn't care how much it means to you, it cares what problem you solve. Passion is fuel. But left unchecked, it can steer you into a ditch. You need a dashboard, strategy, metrics, clear indicators of what's working, what's not, and where to shift. Wealthy minds separate the mission from the method. They're loyal to the outcome, not the original form. If the message matters, they'll change the medium. They'll package it differently, scale it differently, even shelve a version that no longer serves. You don't need to abandon your heart. You need to guide it with discipline. Think of an architect designing a bridge. She might love a particular design, but if the weight load fails or the supports don't hold, she changes it. Not because she stopped caring, but because caring means making it work. Apply that same logic to your idea. If the handcrafted version breaks you, find a model that scales. If the offer you love doesn't sell, tweak the positioning. If the process burns you out, automate part of it. Adaptation isn't failure. It's faith in the bigger vision. Detachment gives you freedom to evolve. When you're too entangled emotionally, you resist necessary changes. Detachment lets you step back and ask, what does this need to become to serve more people and still honor the original spark? It also protects your energy. You're not meant to carry every piece forever. Delegating, automating, or shifting formats isn't selling out, it's scaling up. Strategic execution means setting boundaries between your feelings and your framework. Feel passionate? Absolutely. But let structure guide the way. This is why wealthy thinkers build in layers. They test. May test, observe, adjust. Not because they don't believe in the idea, but because they believe in delivering it at the highest level. Emotion fuels the mission. Strategy makes it sustainable. Ask yourself, where are emotions blurring your vision? What are you holding on to that no longer serves the mission? Detachment doesn't kill creativity. It sharpens it. It gives you room to breathe, step back, and build something that lasts. The goal is not less feeling. It's more freedom. Your passion deserves to grow. Let go of the version that drains you. Execute the one that works. Passion can become a trap if not guided by strategy. Wealthy thinkers detach emotionally to adapt effectively. Execution thrives when emotion fuels but doesn't control. What part of your idea are you clinging to emotionally, even though it's no longer effective? Identify one aspect of your project that's draining you. Find a way to simplify, delegate, or reframe it this week. Start with one small shift. Chapter 6. Sprinting is for amateurs, systems are for builders. A freelance copywriter once bragged he pulled 5 all-nighters in a row to finish client work. He wore burnout like a badge. But behind the hustle was a reality he didn't share: constant anxiety, missed deadlines, and an income ceiling he couldn't break. The problem wasn't his skill, it was his mindset. He was sprinting, not building. Sprints are seductive. You feel productive, alive, even heroic. The late nights, the caffeine, the adrenaline rush of launch day. But sprints aren't strategy, they're survival, and survival isn't scalable. Wealthy thinkers don't sprint. They systemize. A system is a repeatable path from problem to solution. It's a process that works without panic, exhaustion, or guesswork. Systems give structure to creativity and direction to passion. They transform chaos into compounding results. Sprinting is reactive. You wait for urgency, then respond with intensity. Systems are proactive. You plan ahead and build consistency. One burns energy. The other builds equity. Here's the brutal truth: if your business falls apart when you take a weekend off, you don't have a business, you have a treadmill. And the longer you run, the harder it is to slow down without crashing. Wealthy thinkers design for freedom. They ask, how can I deliver value at scale, without trading every hour for $1? The answer is systems. Not just for marketing or sales, but for creation, fulfillment, and growth. Imagine a musician who only makes money when playing live shows. That's a sprint model. Now imagine that same musician turning her songs into licensing deals, online courses, and digital products. That's a system. Her income continues, even when she doesn't. Your goal isn't to work harder. It's to build smarter. A simple system starts with 4 steps: lead, convert, deliver, repeat. Lead is how people find you: SEO, social media, referrals, or partnerships. Convert is how interest turns into action: landing pages, email sequences, discovery calls. Deliver is how the transformation happens: products, services, experiences. Repeat is how you keep the cycle going: testimonials, referrals, upsells, and community. When all four are mapped out and working, you don't need sprints, you need maintenance. A few dials turned, a few gears greased. The machine hums. And if something breaks, you fix one part, not the whole thing. Systems don't kill creativity, they protect it. When you're not constantly reacting, you have space to think, invent, and grow. You move from panic to precision. But building a system takes patience. And that's why most don't do it. They'd rather feel progress now than create progress later. But wealthy thinkers play the long game. They sacrifice immediate intensity for sustained momentum. Think about your current workflow. Where are you relying on effort instead of structure? Are you repeating tasks manually that could be automated or delegated? Are you dependent on motivation instead of process? If your answer is yes, good. That awareness is the doorway to change. Stop chasing finish lines. Start laying tracks. Build something that gets easier with time, not harder. That's how real income is created, through infrastructure, not inspiration. The most successful builders aren't the fastest. They're the most consistent. They don't win because they sprint. They win because they show up daily, guided by systems, not stress. So pause. Breathe. Look at your hustle honestly. Is it building something, or just burning energy? You weren't meant to sprint forever. You were meant to build something that runs without you. Sprints create burnout. Systems create sustainability. Wealthy thinkers prioritize structure over speed. A system frees your time, scales your impact, and protects your energy. Where in your current process are you sprinting when you should be building a system? Identify one repeated task in your business and document how to automate or delegate it by week's end. One task, one system. Chapter 7. The Multipliers Mindset: Time, Tools, and Teams. A solo entrepreneur was juggling everything: design, customer service, marketing, and fulfillment. She believed doing it all herself was noble, even necessary. No one else can do it like me, she said. Maybe not. But burnout doesn't care. She hit a wall. Not because the idea was flawed, but because she never learned to multiply. Wealthy thinkers don't chase more hours. They chase more output from the same, or fewer hours. That's the multipliers mindset. Time is finite. Multipliers stretch it. They turn minutes into momentum. Not through more hustle but through smarter leverage. Tools, teams, templates, anything that creates results without more effort is a multiplier. The goal isn't to work more. It's to create more value with less strain. Start with time. It's your most obvious resource and the easiest to misuse. Wealthy thinkers audit their hours relentlessly. They ask, what's my highest value activity, and what can someone else do faster, cheaper, or better? Then they eliminate, automate, or delegate everything else. This isn't laziness, it's leadership. Time multipliers can be as simple as batching content, setting up recurring tasks, or using scheduling tools to reduce back and forth. 1 hour of setup can save 10 later. Over a year, that's hundreds of hours redirected toward growth. Next comes tools. The right tools don't just make life easier, they remove friction. Email platforms, CRMs, autoresponders, course builders, AI assistants. These aren't just conveniences, they're extensions of your capacity. Think of tools like hiring invisible employees. They never sleep, they don't get sick, and they follow instructions perfectly. If you find yourself repeating a task weekly, a tool likely exists to handle it once and for all. Then there are teams. This is where most solo creators hesitate. I can't afford to hire. But wealthy thinkers flip that, I can't afford not to. You don't need a full-time staff. A few contractors, a virtual assistant, a designer. Just enough to create breathing room and let you focus on your genius zone. Every hour you spend doing what someone else could do for $20 is an hour you're stealing from your $200 zone. Delegation is not abdication. It's stewardship. Wealthy minds see every task as an opportunity to scale or to stall. They hire out the stall points so they can double down on scale points. Multipliers aren't just about speed, they're about expansion. A YouTube video posted once can gain views for years. A course built now can sell forever. A team trained today can carry your brand forward tomorrow. Wealthy thinkers build with tomorrow in mind. They also protect their bandwidth like royalty. Not everything that demands attention deserves it. They say no often. Not to be rude, but to stay effective. Their schedule isn't full of activity. It's full of strategy. This mindset creates margin. Margin creates innovation. When you're no longer buried in busy work, you can think, plan, and build with clarity. So audit your ecosystem. Where are you doing tasks a tool could automate? Where are you stuck in the weeds when a freelancer could mow the lawn? Where are you doing things just because you always have? Multiply, or be multiplied by your workload. This is the line that separates dreamers from builders. Dreamers do it all. Builders let go and level up. You don't need more hours. You need multipliers. Time, tools, and teams are essential for scaling sustainably. Wealthy thinkers focus on leverage, not labor. Multipliers free your energy and increase your impact. What are you doing right now that someone, or something, else could handle better? List 3 tasks you do weekly that drain your time. Choose one and either automate it, outsource it, or eliminate it this week. Chapter 8. Your first funnel, turning value into velocity. A personal finance coach spent hours creating great content, Instagram posts, blog articles, and podcasts. People loved it, shared it, praised it, but sales were sporadic. Why? Because there was no journey, no path from attention to action. She was planting seeds but never showing anyone where to walk. She didn't need more content. She needed a funnel. A funnel isn't a scammy sales trick. It's a guided experience. A bridge from curiosity to commitment. Without one, your audience floats. With one, they flow, step by step, toward a solution. Wealthy thinkers don't leave that journey to chance. They architect it. A funnel is just a sequence: attract, engage, convert. It gives your idea momentum. It multiplies your reach and revenue without multiplying confusion. Think of it like a staircase. Every step is intentional, each one leading closer to the transformation your offer provides. The first step is the free value. This could be a lead magnet, a workshop, a quiz, anything that gives immediate, no strings attached benefit. The goal isn't to sell. It's to serve, to earn trust and attention in an overcrowded marketplace. Next comes the entry offer. Low cost, high value, something your audience can say yes to without hesitation. It filters the curious from the committed. It signals that you're not just a giver, you're a guide. Then comes the core offer. This is your main product, service, or program, the deeper solution. It's where your real transformation happens, and because you've earned trust along the way, it doesn't feel like a pitch. It feels like the next logical step. Finally, you have the follow-up. This is where too many stop, but wealthy thinkers know the journey doesn't end at the sale. Upsells, continuity programs, membership offers, these deepen the relationship and extend the value. This doesn't have to be complicated. You're not building an Amazon clone. You're creating a guided path for one type of person with one problem to reach one powerful outcome. Start simple. One free offer. One paid offer. One follow-up. That's it. The point isn't perfection, it's progression. Wealthy builders test constantly. They tweak headlines, swap emails, shift pricing, not out of desperation, but out of commitment. They don't just want a funnel that works, they want one that flows. Funnels also remove guesswork. You'll know where people drop off, where they hesitate, where they buy. That data becomes your blueprint. You're not throwing spaghetti at the wall. You're analyzing what sticks and why. This is what creates velocity. Suddenly, your idea isn't just sitting in a folder. It's moving. Touching lives. Generating revenue. Fueling itself. That's what a funnel does. It breathes life into value. And here's the best part. Once your first funnel is working, you can build another, and another. Each one stacking on the last. Not random offers, but a value ladder, one step leading to the next. Funnels don't trap people. They guide them. They honor their attention by showing them what's next. You don't need a huge following to make a big impact. You need a clear path. A simple funnel, a way forward. So take your idea and build the staircase, one step at a time. Funnels create flow, from attention to transformation. Wealthy thinkers build journeys, Not just products. A simple funnel beats scattered content every time. Where are you providing value without offering a next step? Design a basic funnel, one free offer, one paid offer, and one follow-up. Sketch the steps on paper. Keep it lean, then start building. Chapter 9. When to pivot, when to persevere. He launched a productivity app that no one used. For 8 months he kept tweaking the layout, changing the logo, even rewriting the mission statement. But user feedback stayed the same. It didn't solve a real problem. Still, he pushed forward, emotionally committed to an outcome that wasn't coming. Eventually, the money ran out. What he needed wasn't more effort. It was a pivot. Then there's the other type, the entrepreneur who gives up at the first dip. One slow week, and they throw out the whole idea. They never give it time to evolve. Their problem isn't stubbornness, it's impatience. Both are blind spots. Persevering with a dead idea and pivoting too soon lead to the same result: stalled progress. Wealthy thinkers master the art of timing. They know when to hold, when to fold, and most importantly, what signs to watch. They don't act from emotion, they act from evidence. Perseverance is not about grinding endlessly. It's about committing to the outcome, not the method, and pivoting is not quitting. It's adjusting the method to better reach the mission. Here's the rule: pivot when the data is dead, persevere when the data shows signs of life. Look for traction. Are people engaging, sharing, paying? Even small signals matter. A trickle of consistent conversions may mean you're close. Don't abandon ship because the storm is loud. Check if the compass still points to progress. But if it's radio silence, no clicks, no feedback, no momentum, that's a red flag. That's when pivoting becomes wisdom, not weakness. Wealthy thinkers set clear metrics early. Not just revenue goals, but engagement milestones, feedback loops, and conversion benchmarks. They don't guess. They measure. And they move based on results. They ask, is this the right problem? Is this the right solution? Is this the right market? Sometimes the idea is good, but the offer is off. Sometimes the message is solid, but the audience is wrong. Sometimes it's all working, but you just haven't given it enough time. This is why testing matters. Weekly reviews, honest audits, quick experiments. Every action is data. Data drives decisions. The wealthy don't wait to feel ready. They act, track, and adapt. They also listen closely. Customer feedback isn't just noise. It's direction. If your audience keeps asking for something else, don't dig in your heels. Dig into the pattern. There's gold in complaints if you know how to mine it. And don't confuse discomfort with misalignment. All growth is uncomfortable. Pivoting isn't always the brave thing. Sometimes staying the course is harder and smarter. Here's a good filter: are you pivoting to avoid discomfort or to increase alignment? Ask yourself that before every major decision. One protects your passion, the other sabotages it. Also remember, pivoting doesn't always mean scrapping everything. It might mean changing the pricing, swapping the headline, shifting the niche. Small moves can create massive results if they're made strategically. Perseverance, too, doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means facing the numbers, seeing the slow progress and saying, let's refine, not retreat. Wealthy thinkers build with flexibility and resilience. Their ideas aren't rigid statues. They're sculpted, shaped, and adjusted over time, until they fit the market like a key in a lock. So don't cling to the wrong thing, but don't flee from the right thing just because it's hard. Look at the data, listen to the feedback, and act like a builder, not a gambler. Pivot based on data, not drama. Persevere when feedback and traction show potential. Wealthy thinkers refine constantly, not emotionally. Where are you ignoring signs to pivot, or giving up before the data says to? Pick one metric: traffic, conversion, engagement, and track it for 2 weeks. Let that data guide your next move, not emotion, not fear. Data. Chapter 10. Content that compounds, creating evergreen impact. A business coach once spent 5 hours crafting the perfect Instagram caption. It got 37 likes and vanished into the algorithm abyss within 24 hours. The next day, back to square one. New post, new hustle. Zero momentum carried forward. She wasn't building a brand, she was feeding a machine. That's the danger of content without compounding. You're always chasing attention instead of creating assets. Wealthy thinkers don't play that game. They create content that compounds. Posts, videos, articles, and resources that work while they sleep. Content that grows in value the more it's seen, shared, and used. Not fleeting, foundational. This shift starts by thinking long-term. Stop asking, what will go viral today? And start asking, what will still be useful a year from now? That's evergreen content. Timeless, relevant, and strategically placed to create ongoing results. A blog post that solves a key problem. A YouTube tutorial that ranks in search. A free download that captures emails daily. These aren't just posts. They're systems in disguise. Most people create content to feel productive. Wealthy thinkers create it to build a pipeline. Think of it like investing. Posting without strategy is spending. Creating with intention is compounding. One quality piece of content can generate leads, build trust, and convert customers for months, sometimes years, without being touched. This doesn't mean never post on social media. It means let your short-term posts lead people toward long-term assets. The Instagram reel isn't the product, it's the preview. The tweet is the invitation. The podcast episode is the entry point to something deeper. Every piece of content should have a destination. That might be an email list, a lead magnet, a product page, or a community. Content without a destination is noise. Content with a path is leverage. Wealthy thinkers repurpose constantly. A single blog post becomes 5 tweets, a podcast topic, a video, and an email. They don't reinvent the wheel daily, they turn the wheel into an engine. This is how consistency becomes scalable. You're not hustling for every eyeball. You're building a body of work that grows in value over time. Every piece adds a brick to your digital foundation. Content that compounds also builds authority. When someone finds your work months or years later and it still hits, that creates trust. It's the difference between a momentary hit and a magnetic presence. And don't fall into the perfection trap. You don't need studio lighting or Pulitzer-level writing. You need clarity, consistency, and a clear audience problem to solve. Done is better than perfect when the goal is long-term utility. Start by identifying your evergreen pillars. What are the 3 to 5 core problems you solve? What questions do people ask over and over? Those are your anchor topics. Build around them. Then choose your primary content home: YouTube, blog, podcast. Somewhere searchable. Somewhere sustainable. Use social media to drive traffic there, not to live there. Wealthy minds treat content like infrastructure. Every post is a brick. Every email is a bridge. Every asset is a worker, out in the world, spreading their message and attracting the right people. So stop chasing attention. Start building assets. You don't need more likes, you need more leverage. Let your content work harder than you do. Content that compounds builds trust and traffic over time. Evergreen content turns effort into assets. Wealthy thinkers prioritize long-term value, not short-term applause. Are you creating content that lasts, or content that vanishes? Choose one evergreen topic you know well. Create one piece of content around it this week, aimed at lasting value, not instant likes. Post it. Post it, then repurpose it twice. Chapter 11. Turning Passion into Infrastructure. A musician loved performing live shows. The energy, the crowd, the instant feedback, it was her dream, but every month was a scramble. Booking gigs, promoting events, managing gear. When the pandemic hit, the stage vanished. So did her income. What she lacked wasn't talent or drive, it was infrastructure. Passion is powerful, but without structure, it's unstable. Wealthy thinkers don't just follow passion, they build around it. They create systems, products, and platforms that let the passion grow beyond their direct effort. Infrastructure turns energy into longevity. It's the skeleton that holds up the dream. Passion gives you direction. Infrastructure gives you endurance. Think about your creative output. Is it repeatable? Is it protected? Does it produce results even when you're not personally showing up? If not, it's not infrastructure, it's a performance. Infrastructure isn't just businessy jargon. It's how ideas survive, scale, and serve. Without it, passion becomes a full-time hustle. With it, passion becomes an engine. Let's break it down. There are 3 pillars to turning passion into infrastructure: content, product, and community. Content is how people find you. It's your voice in the marketplace. It attracts attention and builds trust. This is your first layer of infrastructure, especially if it lives somewhere evergreen. You're not just entertaining. You're educating and leading people somewhere intentional. Product is how you deliver transformation. It's not about selling out, it's about selling smart. Your product could be a course, a template, a tool, or a coaching program. It doesn't replace your passion, it packages it, so others can benefit without you burning out. Community is how you sustain momentum. People don't just want solutions, they want connection. Forums, memberships, mastermind groups, these create ecosystems. Now your passion doesn't rely solely on you. Others contribute, support, and amplify the mission. Each pillar reinforces the others. Content attracts, product delivers, community retains. Together, they become infrastructure. Not just a business, but a body of work that stands on its own. Wealthy thinkers don't wait until they're overwhelmed to start building. They build while momentum is rising. Because infrastructure isn't reactive. It's protective. It guards your time, your energy, and your mission from collapse. And no, you don't need to build everything at once. Start with a single layer. Maybe that's a downloadable guide, a workshop, a private Slack group. Think minimum viable infrastructure. Something simple that supports your idea without consuming your life. Then layer up. A content library, a self-serve onboarding system, a course that sells while you sleep. Infrastructure grows over time, brick by brick. It also gives you margin. Suddenly you're not saying yes to every request. You're not panicking when you get sick. Your income doesn't vanish when you unplug. That's the freedom infrastructure provides, stability without suffocating your creativity. The irony? The more infrastructure you build, the more room you have for your actual passion. Instead of spending your time chasing stability, you're free to innovate, create, and lead. Passion was never meant to carry everything alone, it's the fire. Infrastructure is the fireplace. So take that raw energy and wrap it in a system. Build a foundation that supports your work without burying you in it. Don't just perform your passion, protect it. Wealthy thinkers treat their passion like an asset, and they build accordingly. Passion without infrastructure leads to burnout. Infrastructure multiplies your reach, stability, and freedom. Content, product, and community form a scalable foundation. Where are you relying on passion alone, without supportive systems in place? Pick one element, content, product, or community, and outline how to turn it into infrastructure this week. Start with one small, repeatable system. Take care and be well.